Hey, it's that time of the week, time for the NFC West Huddle. That's where we huddle up with the best of the NFC West. We check in with each reporter in each market and get the lowdown on each team. In LA, we have Gerard Moncure. I mean, this guy is a winner. All he does is win, right? He's won with the Giants, the Lakers, the Warriors. He wins so much, if you beat him in your dreams, you better wake up and apologize. Over in San Francisco, it's Keyshawn Ward, the pride of Oakland. This guy's so popular in Oaktown, it's Keyshawn Ward too short than everybody else. Over in Seattle, representing the Seahawks, we've got Ethan McReynolds. He's the pride of Bothell, Washington. He's playing chess. We're all playing checkers. That's why he's one step ahead of us. Yes, it's week 5 in the National Football League. But first, I want to talk about week 4. We had some things going on here. I want to start off with my guy Gerard in LA. First of all, my apologies, Gerard. A couple weeks ago, you said the Rams, I called them the Lambs. We're going to beat San Francisco. I thought you were wrong. You were right. That was a great pick. But then you guys are going to lose to the Bears. The Bears, to quote the great Denny Green, the Bears are who we thought they were. And you let them off the hook. What happened there, man?
Richard, it's pretty simple. Okay, 4 trips to the red zone, just 1 touchdown. The Rams right now are 27th in the entire league in red zone percentage. Last year, they were 8th at 60%. They are 27% scoring touchdowns this year, which obviously will not get it done. Let me give you their first couple of drives of this game. I mean, they led the game, but they were never in full control of the game. 13 plays, 68 yards, field goal. 8 plays, 56 yards, field goal. Next possession, they fumbled, and that led to a Bears touchdown. So they completely outplayed Chicago early on, that they only led 6-0, and then they trailed 7-6. Overall, 21 first downs. The Bears only 17 first downs. Total yards, Rams 322, Chicago 264. The red zone continues to be the ultimate doom for the Rams in this early part of the season. If Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford don't get it fixed, they're going to continue to struggle and lose games that they should win, just like what we saw against Chicago.
All right, okay, Ethan, let's check in with you in Seattle. Now, Ethan, look at me. I'm here for you, bro. I know in fantasy football you drafted Christian McCaffrey like I did with my fantasy team, the Chimichangas, who are a bit of a dynasty. I've got the hotline number, the support line number you can call later. But I got to admit, I also have Emron St. Brown, and he did a number on your Seahawks, helped my Chimichangas beat my chubby hubby. So tell me about that game.
Yeah, look, I mean, the Seahawks were just decimated in that defensive line, and they got no pressure on Jared Goff. So, congrats to your Amon-Ra St. Brown, your Chimichangas. I'm glad the Lions offense was able to help you out. Look, we knew the Seahawks weren't going to go 17-0, but it was still disappointing to see Mike McDonald take his first loss as a head coach, especially in a game where it felt like they had a chance to win against a very good Detroit Lions team, despite being extremely shorthanded on defense. The Hawks defense couldn't force an incompletion on Jared Goff, yet they had the ball at the start of the fourth quarter with a chance down 8 to tie the game, and they should have had a chance to take the lead if the rest didn't miss DK Metcalf's 2-point conversion catch. So frustrating loss for the Seahawks for sure. And watching the Hawks defense without 6 starters for most of the game wasn't fun at all. But it's hard not to be excited seeing this team be very competitive in their first real test of the season. And the offense performed the way it did. By the way, guys, Geno Smith set a franchise record for pass attempts and completions in a single game. He leads the NFL in passing yards so far. I don't think anyone would have seen that coming at the start of the year. Ryan Grubb's new offense has passed with flying colors so far.
All right, Ethan, I love you, bro, but a lot of excuses there with the injuries. I know you're from Bothell, Washington, where they have the wineries, but that's a different kind of whining we're getting from. I'll send you some cheese for that whining over there. Okay, in San Francisco, we got Keyshawn Ward. Keyshawn, you guys beat the Patriots, but don't break your arm patting yourself on the back. It's the Patriots, right?
Yeah, Richard, listen, that was probably the first ever national inter-squad scrimmage you've seen on national TV. Because, listen, the Niners and Patriots, that was a bad matchup going into the week. I mean, if you saw the interviews throughout the week, every player pretty much said the same thing. They play hard and fast. But let's be honest, it was a bad matchup coming into the game. I mean, the Niners did whatever they want on offense. They shut them down pretty early. And then that catch that Juwan Jennings made over Marcus Jones, there's a picture out there that kind of just described the whole game. The Patriots are upside down. Jennings coming up with the catch. Complete waste of time. But it was a great dominating win for the Niners to get off and get that bad taste out of their mouth.
All right, when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals, you know who I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about both Cliff Kingsbury, the former Arizona Cardinals head coach, and Jaden Daniels, the former Arizona State Sun Devil, both coming to town with the Washington Commanders. And they were like that guy who's going to see his ex-girlfriend for the first time in a while, where they want to look good. They wish her well, right? But they want to look good so they can say, hey, how's your mama and them? And that's exactly what they did, right? They came to town and they looked fantastic and put a 40 burger on the Arizona Cardinals. This was the first real beatdown for the Cardinals this year. That was kind of surprising to see. More on that later. I don't know if you guys noticed the wardrobe change. Yeah, that's because we're changing topics now. You are now on Fantasy Island, right? We're talking fantasy football. I want to find out what guy in reality is going to be good for your fantasy team or anybody's fantasy team out there, right? Ethan, we were talking about the chimichangas and you drafting Christian McCaffrey. Who's going to have the big game in Seattle that will help out someone's fantasy team this coming weekend?
Yeah, Richard, give me K9. Ken Walker to have a big game against the Giants. He actually put my fantasy team in the grave last week, gave me a loss. Ryan Grubb, he only handed the ball off to Walker 12 times on Monday, but it was more than enough. The Hawks trailed the entire game, so he didn't get much work on the ground. He still somehow ended up with 80 yards and 3 scores. I don't know how he does it. K9, he's a big play waiting to happen. Anytime he has the ball, he has a chance to take it to the house. So I don't think Geno will continue to lead the league in pass attempts as he has so far this year. Mike McDonald's preached a balanced offensive attack since he got to Seattle, so I think that will come back down to earth at some point. I think this week is a great place to start. I expect Seattle to be ahead and in control on Sunday, so I'm going with a big game from Ken Walker.
All right, over in LA, we got my guy Gerard. It's the Rams and Packers, as Big Pun would say. I got nothing but love for you, baby. What do the Rams have in store for Jordan Love, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers?
Well, Richard, I really think it's about the other side of the ball for the Rams. Sam Darnold, and granted, the Vikings are rolling right now, but Sam Darnold had himself a pretty good Sunday against the Pack, 20 of 28, 3 touchdowns, and their receivers just ran whatever routes they wanted to against the Green Bay defensive backfield. The Rams receiver foursome right now, Tutu Atwell, Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Whittington, Colby Parkinson, they've all had great success in between the 20s. I expect that to continue this week. Rams will get another offensive lineman back, and Matthew Stafford should be able to once again work between the 20s. That Rams offense pretty seamless in the middle of the field almost the entire season so far. It's just the red zone where they're having the problems. Look for the Rams receivers, though, to have a pretty good Sunday against that Packers. And this was all going to come down to what they do inside the 20s, though, that'll determine the W or the L. But the Ram receiving corps should have a big afternoon.
All right, you heard it here first, right? Over in San Francisco, we've got Keyshawn. Of course, you're taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I'm representing the Cardinals. You're representing the Niners. I'll let you go first, right? We'll have beauty before age. Keyshawn, what do you think about this game?
Well, Richard, I think that the Cardinals, they can't stop a nosebleed right now when it comes to rush defense. So I think the Niners are going to capitalize on that. Jordan Mason has over 300 yards rushed in the past 3 games, and he's stepping up big in Christian McCaffrey's absence. So, and also the Cardinals, they have 2 interior defensive linemen that are going to be out this game. The Niners will capitalize on that, and I expect Mason to have a big day against Arizona.
Wow. Okay, I'm drinking coffee. I think you're drinking Haterade over there. You're hating on my Arizona Cardinals here. All right, before I talk about who's going to have the big day for the Arizona Cardinals, I got a question Ethan. I got a question for you. You know why we have sidewalks?
No, why?
Because the streets ain't for everybody. That's why. And the Cardinals need to make this into a street fight. And one guy that will punch you in the mouth is James Conner. He's going to have the big day. That's for sure. It's going to be James Conner right, James Conner left, and he's going to be the key to victory for the Arizona. That's right. I said it. It had to be said. Cardinals will win this game. We'll get later to that in the predictions a little bit later. So I'm saying James Conner, he's going to be the guy that puts up big fantasy numbers in reality for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, it's fair or foul. That's where I give a statement, and I say, a particular statement. For you guys in particular, you tell me, am I lying or am I telling the truth? Is it fair or is it foul? We start with Keyshawn in San Francisco. The 49ers are back, baby, right? The Patriots were just what the doctor ordered, and the Cardinals are the perfect remedy. Is that fair or foul?
Richard, I'm going to say fair. I think the Niners can have some confidence now in their team. Now, granted, they are battling the injury bug right now. A lot of players still questionable going into this week's game. But I think the Niners, they needed that because, in the past couple of games, they had a, bad taste in their mouth with those losses on the road. But they play with a different intensity inside Levi Stadium. So I think that the Niners are back, and they're about to go on a tear the next couple of weeks.
All right, this one's for Ethan. Hey, Ethan, reality hits you hard, bro. Okay, you're no longer playing in the USFL. Those first couple weeks, you play Phoneix, Skylar Thompson, whoever. Yeah, the schedule gets tougher now, right? So now that the schedule gets real, you're playing in the NFL now, you guys are going to drop in the standings. Is that fair or is that foul?
Dropping in the standings, Richard, nobody's going to agree with me on this one, but I say foul, yes. This is a grueling stretch for the Seahawks. 3 games in 10 days would be brutal for any team, but especially the Hawks, the injuries they're dealing with, like Keyshawn mentioned with the Niners dealing with as well. But it's not like San Francisco has an easy schedule coming up either. After Sunday with the Giants, the Hawks get the Niners, Falcons, Bills, Rams, and then a rematch in San Francisco. But the Niners, after the Cardinals in that Thursday night game against Seattle, the Niners get the undefeated Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Bucks, Seattle, and then 2 tough road games at Green Bay and at Buffalo. That is a tough stretch. And let's not forget who has a leg up in the division right now. Would I be surprised at all if the Niners end up on top in the division? Not at all. They're still the betting favorite, of course. But it's going to be it's a whole lot closer than Niner fans thought it would be coming into the season. The Seahawks are not just going to collapse as the schedule gets tougher. They proved on Monday night that they can compete with anyone in this league.
Well, let's not forget about Gerard. Like I mentioned, all he does is win. Hey, Gerard, your boy Stafford, he's in big trouble. This is not going to be one of those Disney endings, right? Matthew Stafford's not going to make it through an entire NFL season at this rate. He's been sacked 13 times this year. It's not going to happen for him. He's not going to make it through the entire season. Is that fair or is that foul?
Richard, my brother, that is foul. That is foul. They've got one more game against the Packers, a home game. They're coming off a loss. So I expect the offense to be on its best behavior, we'll call it, against Green Bay. And I actually think they're going to win the game, but we'll get back to that. But after this Green Bay game, they have a bye week, and they're going to get Steve Avila and Joe Noteboom back on the offensive line. So providing they don't have any more injuries, they're going to be fine. And then they have the Raiders coming to town. Everyone beats up on the Raiders these days. Matthew Stafford is going to be fine. They've got to get this win, but the bye week comes at a great time to get more offensive linemen back, and then that O-line will be at full strength. So what you just said is foul.
Wow, you actually believe in the Rams. I remember you saying that earlier, you believe in the Rams. I thought you were kidding. I thought it was a joke. I wrote it in my diary. I wrote right here, look, Gerard had a very funny joke. I laughed about it later that night. You're serious? Wow, okay. Well, anyway, when it comes to the Cardinals, I laughed about it. I was like, yeah, this guy is hilarious, right? All right, so there's my take here, right? I got it from my producer, Mark Maurer. She says it's gut check time for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think that is fair because this is the first time the Cardinals have really gotten beaten down, right? The first loss to the Bills, they had the Bills on the ropes. The loss to the Lions, they were in that game. But Washington really put a number on them, 42 points. But, hey, I think it's gut check time, and I think they'll be just fine because of the return of Trey McBride. We'll get to that in a second. Now, it's show me the money, guys. I want to talk to you guys and find out what you think about your particular team and if they win and, more importantly, if they cover the spread. Let's start with Ethan in Seattle. You're taking on the Giants. Let's say I'm so broke I can't even pay attention. What's the bet that I make here?
Well, okay, so Seahawks favored 6.5 at home. That's a tough line for me. Opening week against the Denver Broncos, Hawks were also favored by 6.5. They end up dominating that game and only winning by 6. So, with the Hawks so banged up, I mean, I expect them to dominate this game. But it's tough. Mike McDonald doesn't like to give out information on injuries in his presser, so it's really anyone's guess who could be back or miss more time. Maybe they rest guys looking ahead to Thursday night against San Francisco. I don't think the Giants pose a major threat, especially at Lumen Field, but I think they keep it close enough. I'll take the Hawks to win outright and dominate the game, but I think the Giants cover in garbage time. Just praying the Seahawks aren't looking too far ahead to San Francisco on Thursday night, and they're able to take care of business on Sunday.
All right, Gerard, you got the Packers coming to town, and you're getting points. Are you going to take that disrespect being an underdog in your own house?
Richard, just like I said against the 49ers a couple weeks ago, money line, baby, money line. Rams are not only are the 3 points too much, but the Rams are going to win the game outright. Sean McVay, if you look at his track record, coming off a loss, he's spectacular. And believe me, they all know they should have beat the Bears, okay? They had a chance to really put the Bears behind the 8 ball early in the game, and they didn't do it, as I was saying before with the field goals. That will get corrected. They will run the ball better at SoFi. They always do. And let's face it, Jordan Love is an up-and-coming quarterback. He's a good quarterback. But that Packers defense was not impressive against the Vikings. The Vikings did whatever they wanted to do, and Jordan Love turned the ball over. Now, I know the Rams defense has not been great. They can't stop a nosebleed right now, but it'll be a competitive game for sure. And I think the Rams with the upset, 31-27 in Inglewood on Sunday.
All right, I'm writing it down in my diary. Gerard says the Rams with the upset. Okay, I'm putting it.
No joke, Richard.
To paper
No joke
here. All right. It's a deal. I won't be laughing about it later because you're for real, right? All right, now let's check in with Keyshawn over in San Francisco. You're taking on the Cardinals. You know, like you guys like to say in Livingston College, LC, who you with, right? Who do you got winning this game?
Richard, I think the 49ers will win outright. I honestly don't win by 2 touchdowns or more. I think the first quarter is going to be pretty close because they got to deal with Kyler Murray scrambling out the pocket. But I think once things get calmed down, the Niners control the line of scrimmage, and Jordan Mason run the Cardinals out to Levi Stadium, I think it's going to get pretty ugly. I can see the Niners winning probably this one. I'll say 31-13, and I think Mason probably have 140 yards rushing. So I will bet outright on that.
Wow. Okay, Keisha. I thought you were my boy, man. I thought we were friends. Right? You're gonna go that right. Okay. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. Gerard knows about this, right? This is just between you, me, and everybody else. My brother, sister's cousin's friend. She's got the information. She's got the 211, the stuff you get from the streets, right? She knows. She told me, allegedly, you got to throw allegedly in there so we don't get sued. The Cardinals, they gather around in a circle. They watch this show. They hang on every word, right? They love Ethan over there in Seattle, especially Buda Baker. He loves that guy. But anyway, they watch. So now I'm going to say scared money doesn't make any money. I'm going with the Cardinals money line to win this game. They're going to get the upset, and they're going to win this because they're going to run the ball. They got the return of Trey McBride. Their tight end is back. He adds so much to this offense, both in the ground game as a blocker and the passing game. But it's going to be the running game. They're going to control the clock, control the ball, and beat the 49ers at their own game. So there you have it. That's my prediction. I know you guys want to keep hanging out, right? But we got to get back to work. I can hear my producer in my ear. He sounds like the bouncer at the college bar. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right? So we got to go. Thanks for hanging out with us. You got gifts coming your way for being a part of the show. You got a gift certificate from Maury's Wigs. It's a great shop. Get what you want in there. But we got to go. Thanks for hanging out. And of course, let's do it next week, a little bit later next week because we got Thursday Night Football. But we'll still be hanging around, and go Chimichangas.